YORI FOLARIN. Well, first of all, the two announcements that came out yesterday, the president, had just changed a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go into the details about it because we're not going to actually be there because we have our guest. He's Colonel Sumaila Yombe Dubai. He's a retired colonel, in fact, and a PhD. Good morning to you, Colonel. We're trying to. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Colonel? Colonel Dubai? Dubai? Colonel Dubai?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, if you can hear us, good morning, sir, and thank you for making time for us. Maybe to go into it, the subject of conversation is the Tinubu administration's quest for tangible growth. And in relation to this topic, I think about 5 days ago, the president inaugurated the National Economic Council that has the vice president as its chair. And I imagine there was a lot of stuff in there that the president sort of, in inaugurating, brought out. The focus is going to be security, economy, job creation, agriculture, and infrastructure, among others. Can we take that, in your opinion, as the roadmap for this quest for tangible growth? Because Nigerians do want something to change. They want it to change. They want growth. Colonel.
I didn't hear about this.
Colonel, it looks like we're having a little bit of a challenge, and I'm sure we can sort that out. The first thing to establish is if you can hear me. That's very important. Can you hear me, sir? No confirmation on that. So I guess there are issues. We're going to sort it out very, very shortly. But as I was saying, we want to talk about the quest for tangible growth. That is the Tinubu administration's quest for tangible growth. This is a subject that is very, very close to the president and his party's mind, APC. It's been a long, long time that the president has been talking about these growth indices, especially as it relates to, job creation, agriculture, and all that kind of a thing. That's what we have, Colonel Sumaila Yombe Dubai, retired PhD, as our guest this morning, to talk about. But we still are having a bit of a challenge. So hold on for us, please. We'll just take a quick break, see if we can make things a bit better, and we'll be right back.
In the month of June, the 4th of June 2023, makes it 27 years since the wife of the late MKO Abiola, Kudirat Abiola, was murdered. 5th of June is World Environment Day. On the 7th of June, the global community celebrates World Food Safety Day, while June 12 is Democracy Day in Nigeria. Also, June 12 is World Day Against Child Labor. 13th of June is a day set aside for International Albinism Awareness, while 14th of June is World Blood Donor Day. The 19th of June is set aside as International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. It's also set aside as World Sickle Cell Day. 26th of June is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. 30th of June is International Day of Parliamentarism. Brace yourself for the month of June and stay tuned to TVC News for special reports and analysis.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Politics is defined as getting what, where, when, and how. But in the mix, many things come to play to shape the political fortune of any country.
Mr. Honorable Minister,
That's how you misinform the public.
From the political actors to the electorate, campaign to voting, from debates to policy decisions, big events happen to engage us in constant conversation.
That's what we're looking for. Not some people who are talking about ethnicity. No.
Who is on your mind?
Don't worry.
Join me every day on Politics Tonight, where we dissect issues that shape our political destiny. Politics Tonight, weekdays on TVC News.
In the month of June, the 4th of June 2023, makes it 27 years since the wife of the late MKO Abiola, Kudirat Abiola, was murdered. 5th of June is World Environment Day. On the 7th of June, the global community celebrates World Food Safety Day, while June 12 is Democracy Day in Nigeria. Also, June 12 is World Day Against Child Labor. 13th of June is a day set aside for International Albinism Awareness, while 14th of June is World Blood Donor Day. The 19th of June is set aside as International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. It's also set aside as World Sickle Cell Day. 26th of June is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. 30th of June is International Day of Parliamentarism. Brace yourself for the month of June and stay tuned to TVC News for special reports and analysis.
Okay, welcome back. And actually, there's a sense in which I should be saying good morning to you, because we haven't been able to actually get much, since we started. And that's because of those technical bugs from time to time do interfere. But our guest this morning is retired Colonel Samaila Yombe Dabai. He's a PhD and he's the immediate past governor, deputy governor, I beg your pardon, the immediate past deputy governor, in his home, Kebbi State. Thank you very much, Thank you very much, Dr. Dabai, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Indeed.
I'm glad to see you.
Okay. My first trial, I was actually saying that we might not even go to some of the hot news, as it were, that's sort of out there. But on second thoughts, I've had time to think about it. On second thoughts, perhaps the news is too big to be ignored, especially the change of guard in the service architecture, the removal of all service chiefs and the replacement of them. We have the arching subject matter of the quest for tangible growth. Is there a sense then in which this too can be seen as part of that quest for a tangible growth? This sudden, I don't know if it is surprising to you as well, but a lot of people, they were caught a bit unawares last night when the news broke. Is there a sense in which we can see the change of guard, as far as the security architecture is concerned, as part of this quest for tangible growth by the Tinubu administration?
Most certainly. As you are aware, there cannot be any tangible growth without security. If you cannot travel from A to B without fear of being stolen, or the people who go to farm to cultivate what we have to eat can no longer go, or neither can those our brothers and sisters who rear cattle and so on go and take care of their cattle. There can't be any tangible growth. And as to the other side of your question, I think His Excellency the Commander-in-Chief is really he's aware of the prevailing security situations in the country and had strategically put his mind into what to do and what action needs to be taken immediately for him to put his security program running, and that's informed us of why he has changed all the players, the leading players in security terrain in Nigeria. And I believe very soon we'll see him rolling out of programs, security programs that will see to the end of what we are facing today.
Okay. Now, since we're narrowing down a bit to our security, one of the most visible things, as you would have seen, is that, well, we had an earlier announcement of, the former one-time EFCC chairman, Nuhu Ribadu, as an advisor on security. But with the announcement yesterday, it's a full-fledged national security advisor. Did that surprise you?
Well, I know Ribadu very, very closely, and he has the capacity. And so I'm not surprised that the right person for the right seat is chosen. He's well known in the security area, and he has wide experience and knowledge of what is required. And I think the choice is well made.
Because people know that it's an important position, especially in the context of Nigeria looking to make a difference in security. And traditionally, as you know, it's been, as far as our experience here in the country, perhaps in West Africa, it's been that it has been assumed that only a certain kind of professional could occupy that office. But this seems to be, to me, to be a bit more like, other areas of the world where the civilian authority is on top of all other, whether military, whether paramilitary, whether whatever it is, they've always put a civilian authority in charge. And a lot of people have seen that, well, that's how democracy works. In fact, that's why the commander-in-chief is a civilian. You don't need to be a general to qualify as the commander-in-chief. So in that context, people are sort of getting used to the idea, are we going to begin to do things a bit more like the way it is across the globe, especially in the democratic world, having a civilian as the national security advisor?
Well, I think the most determining factor is the individual's capacity to perform and with the resultant effect. In my opinion, you don't have to be a general or some bigwig somewhere to occupy that seat. You must have, in my opinion, the capacity to deliver that security advisor is required or needed for taking care of the security issues. And I think the Badu is well suited for that.
Okay. But then when we go to the services themselves, happily, you yourself are a retired senior officer of the Nigeria Army. You're a retired colonel. I was going to ask the question, as far as we are concerned, we just see that army. We just see the Nigeria Army as an army that we're all proud of, one Nigerian army. But it has had its setbacks as far as the ordinary man can tell. And I'm referring here to the fact that the security challenge have appeared to be are intractable over time. So I was going to ask you, with a change now in the heads pending confirmation, you know, as was said by the Senate, that this same military, how might a change of, help us understand what you expect in terms of enhanced effectiveness from this change of guard in the, you know, security apparatus, the whole chiefs of staff, the whole staffs being changed in the military. How might this help?
Well, let me start with the consideration for the Chief of Army Staff. And I think, you see, the Chief of Army Staff is one of the generals I had the privilege of training when he was in the academy. And right there, when I had his nomination, I knew that yes, this a round peg in the round hole. And as to, I think the Commander-in-Chief has a strategy for tackling the prevailing security situation, and felt that he has to start with the men he chose, so that if any of them mess up, he will not hesitate in changing or kick him out. And so in this direction, I want to advise the new chiefs and the AIG to be overdoing, because His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief, is a result-oriented leader. And so therefore, you have to up and doing, getting the required results to ensure that the security situation of this country improves.
Exactly. But you said something. You said something about round peg in a round hole. In other words, an appropriate fit is what you seem to be indicating. An appropriate...
Exactly.
Yes, an appropriate...
An appropriate person who has the capacity to produce results that is required in that field.
You know, that will be music to a lot of Nigerians' ears, in the sense that we've done everything that has been suggested. When I say we, we're talking in a national sense now. The military, the forces need additional equipment. Of course, who doesn't? We did our best towards providing them. In fact, people that didn't know anything called Tucano, you know, ordinary people, because of the publicity at the time, have begun to hear about our acquiring Tucano aircrafts and that kind of a thing. Do you see in these different times, one, a change of administration, two, a change of the military chiefs, do you see an improvement, an upward swing in the campaign against terrorism? Indeed, banditry and all the other ills that have been deviling us in this country, all of which constitute security integrity in Nigeria.
I don't have to have mental struggle in ascertaining or contributing to your views. You see, in my opinion, and I'm absolutely sure that the government that has been led by Senator Tinubu will, without doubt, within the shortest possible time, we'll be seeing drastic changes in the security situation of this nation. And I think you will agree with me, the first step taken, that is the first step in the right direction. So Nigerians should stop listening to the wrong music. Let them watch out for the right music this time around. I am absolutely sure that we'll begin to see results in our security situation, inshallah.
Okay, well, that's reassuring. In the meantime, Dr. Dabai, our first viewer has called in. Our program is an interactive one. Viewers call in. And so, good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning,
and
sir.
Good morning to the guest.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, the sweeping changes are very encouraging. Those who are saying that Nuhu Ribadu is not a military man, they should tell me the difference between a policeman and an army in terms of security information. Ribadu was an AIG in the police. AIG is the equivalent of a major general in the army. And if the security situation in our country today is the way it is, as managed by army generals, let somebody convince me why an equivalent general in the police cannot do the same thing. Don't forget, Uncle Yori, Ribadu is the only security top man that we know in this country that was able to reject a $10 million bribe that was given to him in order to compromise his position. He sent the money to Central Bank. Have you forgotten? Now we have been talking about oil theft, and people have alleged that generals were involved. How many of those generals that we are talking about have been able to do such? So I am not in agreement with that kind of line of thinking. Ribadu is competent, and I'm sure he will be able to do that job. I expect Mr. President to look at the financial sector. What he has done in the military, and I'll let him go to the finance, the monetary sector, starting with the central bank. To switch Uncle Yori, the banking system in this country is filthy. You should start from the central bank and go even up to, because whoever is appointed as governor of the central bank has authority over commercial banks and the appointments of who becomes MDs in those places. The MDs we are having these days, they end up buying up the banks. If you go into the system, Uncle Yori, I know I'm very happy that somebody who knows the system is our president now. So I commend him. So far, so good. We are waiting and we are supporting him. Good morning.
Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Colonel, would you like to react? That seemed, it was really, as we sort of encouraged, it wasn't just a question. In fact, it was a commentary in two, streams. One, he spoke about his impressions regarding the security changes made, and also that he feels that we need to go to the banking sector as well. And I think in between there's sort of corruption as something of a brace between them. Did you have any comments before we go on break?
Yeah, the gentleman spoke in many ways supported my position in the choice of Alhaji Ribadu as the National Security Advisor. Like I said, you don't have to be a field marshal or whatever to head that office. You have to have the required experience, disposition, and capacity to deliver the advice that we need in the area of security in this nation. And Ribadu is like the last gentleman said, is well chosen. And he mentioned one thing about the difference. What is the difference between the police officer and the army officer? Something like that. Well, they are all both trained to ensure that security of lives and property is well kept. As a matter of fact, there is a basic security incidents that the police goes in first until when it is beyond the police capacity, military is brought in. And so you see these two professions are like senior twins, senior brother and younger brother, whatever you may consider. But the fact still remains that, yes, their responsibility is to ensure safety of life and property in different ways. But I think the gentleman really gave a very good account. And of course, went over to areas that the government should look into.
Okay. Well, Mr. Yakub, good morning, and thank you for holding on all that while. Go ahead now, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chief YORI. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and then thank you to General.
He's a colonel, retired, a retired colonel.
Yes, Chief YORI, I think so far so we support the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So far so good. He has not disappointed us, and then we are happy for the step that he has taken so far. I give kudos to him, and then I expect more than this. We are still expecting because he has raised our hope, and then I know in the long run our hope is not going to be dashed. But having said that, Chief YORI, people are talking about new Ibadan. I think, as far as I'm concerned, if there's no any law that prohibits Mr. President to nominate whoever he wishes, I think it has come to stay. And then I don't have that in my mind. He's going to perform because the office that he has had before now, we know what he did, and then we all know his antecedents. And then if we don't even know anyone out of all those security officers that Mr. President just give that appointment now, we know two of them. Number one is the new Ibadan. Then Egbetoku, I'm very sure the Senate will not hesitate to confirm him as substantive IG. Because when he was in Lagos State, you know what the man did in RRS? He did a fantastic job. And then I don't have that in my mind. Egbetoku is going to perform very well. So, Chief YORI, I'm waiting patiently for Babajide Otitoloju. So give us, in the journalist Hangout, so give us all these guys, they are back, the track record. Because I know you have all these guys information. I can't wait to see Babajide Otitoloju to tell us one by one, because I know you have their records in their hands. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
Indeed. All right. Thank you very much. And I can imagine waiting for journalists Hangout when the guys will jam together on this whole issue. Colonel, we were going to go off on a break unless and you have any one or two comments. Otherwise, we can wait till we come back for it.
Let's come back from it.
All right, then. Okay. So stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
It's not a regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Otitoloju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show Issues with Jide.
It's always a great morning on the TVC Breakfast Show.
Thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
With the array of stories that matter and what's behind them.
As you say, the first blow indicates the direction of government.
Tell us what really is going on between your union and the federal government.
Once it's generated,
if you don't use it, it's waste. We are not even sure whether we have a strategy for security.
Are you saying that there was nothing wrong in that?
Was he the one driving the taxi?
Answer the question.
Reveal your morning with all you need to know.
Like
yes, just mundane lyrics.
Yes.
How does that fit into your scheme of events or duties right now?
No chief of staff, no general has the right to call a governor to order. The governor has been elected by his people.
Start your day right, because this is the breakfast show that adds to your breakfast. TVC Breakfast, weekdays at 7 a.m. only on TVC News.
Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Colonel Dr. Smaila Yombe Dabai, retired, immediate past Deputy Governor in Kebbi State. And just as we were coming back, another caller has come on. Good morning to you, Reverend Dominic. Okay, Reverend Dominic is gone. So we're back to you, Colonel. Yeah, people spoke about some of our, the last caller spoke about, at least he knows two out of those service chiefs that he can speak about, namely Ribadu, and I think he also mentioned Egbetokun, the DIG Kayode Egbetokun, the acting Inspector General of Police now. Apart from Ribadu and Egbetokun that were mentioned, there's also CG Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, Major General. There's TA Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff, Major General. There's also EA Ogala, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral. AVM HB Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff. Those people, in addition, Rufai, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Continue, please. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to add that, the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff are those that I know closely when I was the commander to Immobile Brigade. And my brigade at that time was assigned with some responsibility of air operation. And on several occasions, we've been called to demonstrate air mobile operations in the academy. And I used to personally bring with the support of the Air Force, we bring together the air component of the Army to provide that service. And that was when I knew these officers. I just imagined that, yes, after they are nominated, and I said they are well chosen because they were very brilliant, and after our commission coming to their present day function as various chiefs, Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, must be as a result of hard work and acceleration from the successes of their command. And I say that the Commander-in-Chief has really chosen people, officers that will provide that kind of services. It's very unique in the area of security.
Okay.
Unfortunately, naval young man and AIG was not very conversant with them, and so was the Air Force chief.
Yes.
But
the Air Vice Marshal.
Yes. See, I used to fly with immediate past chief of the former chief of air staff, Sadiq. I used to fly helicopters with him because they were attached to my brigade in Port Harcourt. I fly helicopters too, and I fly both helicopters and fixed wings. But don't get confused. I am an infantry soldier.
Okay.
But trained, dude. Yes.
That's that's an interesting tidbit. Did you just say that you fly helicopters too?
I fly both helicopters and fixed wings.
Okay, I thought you were of the Army, so it's like a flying unit within the Army, right? Or is it the Air Force?
Yeah, there was a plan in place to create Nigerian Army aviation to provide close combat support to the infantry. And that is the soldiers having their own air component for close combat support, and then leaving strategic targets to the Air Force.
Okay.
And simply what I mean by this is the infantry will be supported as he moves into his given objective. And he will be reinforced, he will be given logistic support, he will be evacuated when he becomes a casualty. And you see, so that would make the infantry more efficient.
All right.
Because he has air power from the air.
I get you.
Infantry is
Now I see you're a man of many parts. Let me add a quick one. I mean, you also have a PhD. Might I inquire, what's your PhD? What was the dissertation? What was it in?
Air transport and logistic aviation.
Oh, okay. I guess that figures. All right then. I have Chidi on the line in Kafanchan. Good morning, Chidi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to the retired colonel in the House.
Yes.
In fact, I must have to commend the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because since his inception, the appointments he has been making are very, very critical to giving Nigerians what leadership is all about. Coming down to the the National Security Advisor,
yes,
in the person of Ribadu. Ribadu, by his president, are much more qualified to handle that very position. And we must also understand that the job or the assignment of securing this country is not a solo affair. It is an inclusive affair. In other words, himself and various other stakeholders must have to work synergically, as I will always say, to ensure that all areas of security is well manned. And whenever he gives an advice, it should be followed proactively to ensure that security is up. Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Indeed, thank you too. Thank you, and also for holding on a bit. At the top, coming back to you, Colonel, at the top of the program, I was saying that the president, about 5 days ago, roughly about a week ago, had inaugurated the National Economic Council under the chairmanship of the vice president. And therein, apart from the main business that the president had emphasized, that things like security, economy, jobs, agriculture, and infrastructure should focus. He made no illusions about it was going to be a difficult job before them all. But I was there's a sense in which I was tickled when President Tinubu had said that it's not going to be an easy job, but we begged for it, we campaigned for it, we preached for it, so we have no reason to complain about the difficulty or challenge was what he was implying. But he was telling, because as you know, the meeting will consist of governors in addition to all those people who are members of the National Economic Council. So it's like this is a new kind of governance seems to be experiencing a fillip, if you want, where, look, there's a lot of work on the ground. It's not going to be easy. So, in fact, I think he's saying that he doesn't want to hear complaints. Is that probably the attitudes to have? He doesn't want to hear reasons why a thing is difficult. Because otherwise, why would the president have been emphasizing that we campaigned for it, we preached for it, we begged for it, and we were given it? So now, I guess what he's saying is that I don't want to hear complaints from any quarter. Is that an attitude or a demeanor, a disposition that you personally approve of?
Well, let us examine the prevailing economic situation in this country. We all know that is no news, that our economy and all that goes with it is in shambles. And that's why during this program, one or two persons made comments regarding, let him not stop the changes he's making in the armed forces security. Let him also split over to central bank and other areas.
Yes.
And so, and I think the inauguration of this economic
the National Economic Council.
The National Economic Council that's chaired by the Vice President, it's a welcome idea. And I can assure you that His Excellency, the President of this country today, has exonerated me creditably on my position and what I kept shouting about during the campaign period. And I can tell you that most of my colleagues that were involved in that exercise, I was saying, look, it appears that you know everything. The CNC is changing everything. And I said, look, we are yet to see really changes because the results will start coming out and then people will start biting their fingers, and those who were against us will realize that really, hey, it's about time we sit up and then unite with the present administration to make sure that we have total success.
Indeed.
And so, as you can see, that the inauguration of this council is one step that is taken in the area of solving our economic situation.
Okay. Elder Dari in Kaduna, good morning to you, sir, and thank you for holding on a bit. Please go ahead now.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and to your guest in the studio.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
You see, Nigerians are not asking for too much. What they want is just fairness and equity. Nigerians are very easy to lead. You see, but in a situation where you make some Nigerians more Nigerian than Nigerians, there will be agitations. I think that is where the crux of the matter is. But you see, with the appointment of these service chiefs and all other heads of security agencies, you can feel that the palpable tension in the land has been doused. Simple. In Nigeria, we have strong individuals rather than strong institutions. When the institutions are stronger, then you find things just falling into place. Now the